What is up, guys? JT Tapias with the Empty Your Bucket Nutrition Plan, and today we're going to be speaking about that big word, discipline. I truly believe that this is the word that makes things permanent, things sustainable, more importantly, things achievable, right? Discipline is that thing that most of us have a hard time with, and we tend to think that you need to have some predisposition to being disciplined, right? We tend to look at people that are disciplined and say that person's disciplined and this person isn't. And to be quite honest with you, I truly don't believe that it is a genetic predisposition, but more importantly, it is actually a proactivity in the direction of the things that you want to do. And so defining discipline well, it's simply doing what needs to be done that you definitely don't want to do, right? These are the things that you know you have to do, but you just have such a hard time getting around to it. So we're gonna get right into it. And I wanna give you 7 tangible things that I know that if you incorporate these sequentially, not only will you achieve your goals, but you'll be able to sustain them. They'll become permanent. I know that's a bold statement because you've probably tried a million different diets, a million different exercise programs, and for one reason or the other, it just hasn't stuck. But I truly believe that if we follow this list, you're truly, for the first time in your life, gonna make fitness and proper nutrition something permanent in your life. I can assure you of that. I've seen it over and over and over in people that quote unquote are not disciplined, and all of a sudden they incorporate all 7 of these principles that I'm gonna share with you here, and voila, all of a sudden they are disciplined people. So number 1, we wanna create a list of what we think is difficult, right? So if you think exercising is difficult, put that down in your list. If you think that eating properly is difficult, then I want you to write that out in your list. If you think that waking up early is difficult, write that down in your list. If you hit the snooze button a million times, I want you to write that thing down. What we want to do is we want to identify the things that we find the most resistance with, because you can't actually tackle something if you don't know what you're dealing with, right? In other words, if you don't know what your enemy is, you can't come up with a strategy to defeat it, right? And so once we have that list down, we identify those things that we have such a hard time with, I want you to go to number 2, which is intention setting. Intention setting is probably one of the most powerful components that I use inside of my coaching program with my clients, because intention setting says that you're going to set a date, right? Say Saturday, a time at 9 a.m. and a place in my kitchen. I'm going to meal prep, for example, right? So you set a date, a time, and a place. It's called intention setting, and it works really, really well because what it does, it actually primes your mind. You've probably heard a million different things about visualizing and thinking about the things you want. Well, this is truly putting this sort of principle to work in a very powerful way. What we're telling the mind is that we have a date, we have a time, and we have a place. We actually write that down on a piece of paper. Saturday at 9 a.m., I'm going to meal prep, for example, right? And 9 out of 10 times you actually make that date, that time, and that place. Intention setting is very, very powerful. So that's principle number 2. Principle number 3, we're gonna set alarms. Very basic, right? If you have an iPhone or you have an Android, you have about 15 different alarms in your phone that you can set. The really cool thing about these phones is that you can set an alarm for the alarm. In other words, you can set an alarm for a specific time, and then you can actually kind of sort of layer that alarm. So say you set something for 9 a.m., right? And you have a 9 a.m. alarm, then you set another one for 9:05, then you set another one for 9:10. You may think that this is overkill, but hear me out. In my experience, when people set alarms, they most of the time they just shut them off, right? Because they're busy, they're doing something, they don't want to be interrupted. Maybe they're on the computer doing something they think is important, and they set an alarm to maybe have a protein shake. So they turn it off and say, I'll get to it. Guess what? That's very similar to when your alarm goes off in the morning, you hit the snooze button and you just continue to sleep. Next thing you know, 10, 15, 20 minutes go by and now you're late, right? So what we want to do is we want to layer your alarm. So if you have a 9 a.m. thing that you want to do, you want to set an alarm at 9 a.m., you want to set one at 9:05, and you want to set one at 9:10, because generally on the third alarm is when we tend to actually pay attention to that alarm, right? That is statistically, that is what happens. The third alarm is usually the one that gets on our nerves, and we just simply say, you know what, I'm just going to go do the thing I said I was going to do. Number 4, focus on daily activities, okay? I can't tell you how important it is to just focus on daily activities versus hyper-focusing on the particular goal you have. So if you have a goal, right, and say that goal is to lose 50 pounds and all you do is focus on the goal but not on the activities, guess what? Time is going to go by and you're going to realize you haven't hit your goal because you've just strictly been focused on the thing you want, not on the activities that are going to make that thing happen. So instead of focusing on a particular goal, in this particular case, let's call it weight, if it's 50 pounds, instead of focusing on losing 50 pounds, why don't we focus on the daily activities that are needed in order to get to those 50 pounds? So that may be cardio, that may be meal prepping, that may be sitting down and planning your week out, that may be finding an accountability partner, whatever that activity that is going to get you to the particular thing that you need to do is going to do for you. That's what you need to sit down and actually really focus on, not on the actual goal. So forget about the goal and focus on the daily activity. Number 6, visual reminders, right? Out of sight, out of mind. So you want to make sure that you're constantly seeing the thing that you want to do. There's a part of your brain that I've talked about here before called the reticular activating system. We're going to abbreviate it as RAS, R-A-S. The reticular activating system is a very powerful mechanism within our brain that simply tells us, right, the thing that we need to focus on. Because prior to telling the RAS, the reticular activating system, what to do, it is deleting, distorting, and generalizing ideas. So when you call an idea to your forefront, for example, I'm going to do X, Y, Z, or you write it down on a piece of paper and you can actually see it, or you have alarms and you can actually see it consistently, or you have sticky notes around the house and you're constantly seeing that thing, your reticular activating system, your RAS, goes to work and it actually helps you in that particular endeavor, task, or thing that you're looking to do. So having things in front of you, having things reminding you of your commitments is extremely important. I know this sounds very basic, right? But a lot of times it's the basic things that are the most powerful things that actually push us in the direction of action, okay? Number 7, and this is our last one, I want you to celebrate your wins. Now, we have a tendency to celebrate wins with food, alcohol, or overindulgence. This is not what I'm saying. If what you're looking to do is lose weight, obviously, I'm not saying go have a cheat meal. I'm not saying you can't do those things, maybe down the road. But initially what we want to do is we want to reinforce the positive activities, the positive behaviors versus actually going back to the thing that got us in trouble in the first place, right? So celebrating simply says that you sit down and you actually look at the things that you executed on that particular week, okay? And I want you to close your eyes, right? This is gonna sound silly, but I want you to close your eyes and I want you to see yourself in that particular dress, in that particular suit, in that particular event that you're looking to look your best, to be your best, right? And I want you to see yourself there even prior to getting there, okay? And I want you to feel a sense of gratitude because even though you're not there yet, you've created all the activities, you've executed on all the activities that are actually going to take you there. And then maybe do something special for yourself. Once again, it doesn't have to be something of overindulgence. Maybe it's simply doing something that you enjoy doing, maybe taking a day off, maybe having a personal day. I'm not sure what that is for you. Maybe it's going to the pool because you're always busy and you never get to the pool or to the beach. Or maybe it's simply going to the movies with your spouse and actually having just a relaxed moment where you get to chill and you get to have a little bit of fun with the people you love and just celebrate that moment. It's so important because we have a tendency to go to work and simply work, and we never celebrate our victories. And when we celebrate, we actually reinforce and we anchor the idea that what we're doing is positive, and anything that the brain perceives as positive, the brain wants to repeat. So this is exactly the 7 steps that are going to allow you to make weight loss and maybe an exercise program permanent because you're going to become disciplined. And this is a very sequential way to do it. Guys, if you want to do this in an exceptional way, I would highly recommend hiring a coach that can take you through all of these principles because a coach is going to keep you accountable. And there's nothing more positive and more reinforcing than a third-party, unbiased coach, person, friend that is going to hold you accountable. You're going to have respect for that person and you're going to want to show up day in and day out. If it's not a coach, it can be a friend, but find someone to hold you accountable. Ideally, you want someone that has an expertise that can push you, that can edify you, that can motivate you and encourage you in the direction of what it is you're looking to do. Guys, if you enjoyed this video, you're absolutely going to love this video here. Check it out. JT Tapias with the Empty Your Bucket Nutrition Plan. I'll talk to you guys soon. Ciao, ciao.